So I ended up writing a book at the encouragement of some colleagues who said, you just need to write a book. And I'm like, there's tons of books out there. Why me? They're like, no, Coop, you just need to tell them. So I wrote the book and I framed it around, at the time, the 2015 Dear Colleague letter issued by the Department of Justice in partnership with the Office of Civil Rights in partnership with the U.S. Department of Ed. And that Dear Colleague letter was issued, and they said, here are the 10 obligations that we must adhere to protect the civil rights of English learners. And I had just come off a project where I was serving as a turnaround specialist, helping schools get off of those turnaround lists. You know what I'm talking about? You don't want to be on the list, right? And because if you're on the list, then you get to work with a specialist. And lo and behold, it's me, get to work with me. And I found no matter where I went, off the continent, in the country, out of the country, it didn't matter where I went. These obligations were really kind of like what were stumbling blocks for most educators. And I understand what the research says, because the research will say, here's what's working best for students. You need to implement XYZ program model because here's what the research says. Well, I found in some of those schools on the turnaround list that those school leaders had inherited those programs. They were also in high need communities. They didn't have the same funding. There was no research grant. They had a number of vacancies. So although the research says, here's what we should be doing, I was working alongside and supporting school leaders who had very few of those same resources. So I used this Dear Colleague letter to help start the conversation.